Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan and I'm here to bring you another FPL video. So in this one we are breaking down my team selection for game week 10 as well as a breakdown of what's happened in game week 9 of course. We'll be talking captaincy, we'll be talking all sorts of things here about what we've learned this week. So if you are new around here to the channel then please do consider subscribing, and of course if you enjoy the content as always smash that like button below, and of course any suggestions, anything you want to comment below then feel free to do so as well. I try to respond to every single one of you. So without further ado, let's jump into how the team got on. So in front of us here, we've got the team as it stands on Monday afternoon at time of recording. So we've not seen Leicester and Forest as of yet. They're still to play later on this evening in terms of English time. So yeah, 65 points all out so far, which I'm not really disappointed with, to be honest. I'm not 100% convinced that it was the right week to wildcard, though. I think a red arrow really is not what you want when you wildcard, at least for the first week. You'd like to be able to jump a little bit in terms of ranks, right? So a little bit disappointing on that front. But that being said, I'm still happy with the squad overall for the next weeks ahead, right? So 1.4 million in the bank to play with if I do consider making any moves later on in the week. The squad value is actually 99.9. I made this graphic last night and I think Trippier's gone up now by another 0.1. So yeah, very, very happy with the amount of value that I've been able to bring into the team over the past few weeks. It wasn't as much as I'd like, but I think I've still got about a 0.4, 0.5 swing in terms of value. So happy with that moving forward too. So let's go into the squad and break it down. We've got Daniel Iverson in goal at the moment, but I'm not convinced that Brendan Rodgers is going to start him. He really was just there in terms of the budget option, right, at 3.9 million. If he plays, potentially he bags me some points, hoping for the clean sheet. If not, I've got Guaita coming on for 1 point. So it's not the end of the world. I think Guaita really, he was a long-term pick anyway. I also toyed with the idea of Raya. Now, obviously, short term, he would have been able to score me 6 points this week. But again, these are small margins and decisions. So who knows? Maybe Iverson gets the nod tonight. Then we've got Cancelo, James and Trippier as my back three. Cancelo, I think really, I mentioned it in my stream and in a team selection video as well, a wildcard guide, that just you only really want to play him for the attacking returns in fixtures like that. I think that I did consider that United would score. I didn't anticipate 3 goals though. I thought it would maybe be a 2-2 score draw, maybe a 3-2 to City, but 6-3 was definitely a bit more outlandish than I anticipated. But, you know, without getting an attacking return in 6 goals is something that I don't think we're going to see very often for Cancelo, as well as 3 conceded goals, right? So a bit disappointed, but ultimately you're never going to play, let's say, James Justin or Nico Williams ahead of him in a fixture like that, even though, you know, you anticipate the clean sheet's going to get wiped out. So 1 point, a little bit disappointing, but long term I'm still happy to own him. Reece James, again, maybe again a little bit of a disappointing display from him, I suppose. Defensively, very, very good. I think from the highlights that I've seen, you know, there's some moments in the game that just, you know, he is definitely one of the best, if not the best, right back in terms of English talent now, right? From attacking and a defensive point of view. I did think that maybe he would get an attacking return at Palace though, and that was again why I wanted to bring him into the team. Wasn't to be, and only scored that 2 point for me. And then finally, this man here, an absolute goat at the moment for this squad. 7 points again from Kieran Trippier. I don't know how this man keeps churning out these points. It's just, he's now 5.5 million. So I purchased him at 5. You know, I've had him since game week 1, and I just think he went so under the radar for quite a significant amount of time. I think it was mainly game weeks 3 and 5 that put a lot of people off, right? But I always went in with the decision really that he was going to be a bench option in those weeks and essentially provided cover for him. Now, of course, one of those weeks turned out that he scored against Manchester City, so he could have scored me 6 points, but he was on the bench for it. But, you know, most times I've played him, I think bar one time I've played him, he hasn't returned. So it's absolutely phenomenal that this man just keeps ticking over, and their fixtures moving forward look magnificent even more. There's a couple of bench options that I've got, or bench opportunities. I think he plays Spurs, Man United between now and game week 16. So maybe there's a lack of clean sheets in some of these games, but I still think the fixtures warrant his choice in the starting 11. And of course, other managers may agree because his price has already increased. So yeah, 7 points. Very, very happy with that man. And then moving into the midfield, we've got Raheem Sterling. And again, it's a little bit of variance here. I think hitting the post, could have scored. Bringing him in long term rather than short term. Didn't necessarily anticipate a massive haul from him against Palace. I would have liked a goal similar to Zaha. I would have liked a goal really for him against Chelsea, but it wasn't to be. Both of them scoring 2 points respectively. Clean sheets wiped out, but no yellow cards fortunately. So 2 points apiece for those two. Of course, Maddison yet to play tonight. I think personally we're going to see at least one attacking return from him, if not more. So good luck to those of you that did choose to put the armband on him. Of course, I don't think he's going to be matching Erling Haaland's 23-pointer, as that was an absolute phenomenal haul. But I think he could easily score 10 points this evening, right? So I still think he could do some damage to some rank. And of course, Luis Diaz not starting the game, which was a bit concerning for me to begin with, but then coming on and registering an assist pretty much 10 minutes after being on the pitch. It just showcases why I think he was worthy as an option. Do I think he can match Salah across again between now and maybe game week 12 and 13? Yes. Do I think he can match Salah from game week 12 beyond? Possibly not. But I still think I may keep hold of him and just leave and not go with Salah or Trent, to be honest. I mean, there are some very favourable fixtures, but at the moment they're just showing that even the mid-table teams, if you like, or I mean, maybe that's a little bit offensive to Brighton now. They're definitely a top half table team. They're doing very, very well this season. If they're conceding goals left, right and centre and not conceding goals to essentially the Liverpool star man in Salah, then what's he going to do at West Ham, for example? What's he going to do against Forest? We'll have to see. But I think I'm very, very happy to have chosen Diaz, scoring 4 points as opposed to Salah's 5. But of course, for nearly 5 million cheaper. So very, very happy with his performance. Mitrovic, another disappointment. I think really I've gone through his team so far and showcased quite a lot more disappointment than happiness here. But no, I mean, again, wildcard is about long term rather than short term, right? So 0 pointer from him. He's scored, a phenomenal amount of points against what you put on paper as tougher opposition, and then just essentially goes and gets himself a foot injury and a yellow card to boot, which means he scored an absolute wonderful 0 points. So there's no auto bench or auto substitution there. If anybody didn't catch the games or didn't know what's happened there, it's just meant that he got 30 minutes played. But of course the yellow card deducts 1 point, so he's actually on 0, so no automatic substitution for him. And then of course, without further ado, this absolute GOAT of FPL at the moment, Erling Haaland, being given the armband. It was a tough pill to swallow for me as a United fan. Watching the game at 4-0 at half time, it was Brentford all over again against a much superior side though. And it was just full of disappointments in terms of from a United fan perspective, but it's so well deserved for this squad. I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, I tweeted out that you just have to be in awe of this squad, right? Even if it doesn't matter who you support, really. When you're watching it from a just a footballing appreciation perspective, or if you just enjoy the sport, watching what this man can do, I think, if he conquers the Premier League as the statistics and the numbers are heading towards, then I just think he's going to break records in every single league going. I'm not necessarily sure he stays in the Premier League long term. If he stays for 3-4 years and then goes to France, goes to Spain, I just think he'd do it wherever he goes. I mean, with Manchester City, they are an absolute force. I mean, you've got players behind him such as De Bruyne, Silva, Grealish, Foden. They're all arguably world class in their respective positions, and being able to find him, his second goal was absolutely it's almost a spectacle, really. Being able to score and anticipate the bounce of the ball and score with his studs, it's just there's just nothing more to be said. I'm in absolute awe of the man. It's just, I don't think from an FPL perspective, we can ever go against him now from a captaincy point of view. I mean, he's got Liverpool in game week 11. I mean, game week 12 he blanks, so of course you're not going to captain him there, right? But that's when he's not playing. I just feel like every other game in the next, say, 29 game weeks, we're just going to put the armband on him. Surely, he just seems fixture proof. There's no rotation risk. There was headaches at the beginning of the season about what's going to happen with European fixtures. Where's he going to slot in? But he just keeps doing it. So yes, absolutely phenomenal. Congratulations to all of you if you did captain him as well. Nobody, I think, would have anticipated 23 points from the man. So 46 points from one player. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And then finally, last but not least, this man, Ivan Toney. Again, maybe a little bit unfortunate. As with Sterling, he hit the post. Tony kind of missed what you'd say is probably a really big chance. That the ball kind of, if you haven't seen the highlights yet, it kind of loops over his shoulder. He takes it on the volley or half volley. I can't remember if it bounced in front of him, but it looks like it's heading for goal, and it just kind of goes over or to the side of the goal. But he never really had many more clear-cut chances than that. And against Bournemouth, that's a little bit concerning, as they are probably what you'd say the weakest side in the Premier League. So, as opposed maybe to Forest, but you do anticipate against Bournemouth that this man's going to return. So unfortunate to have only scored the 1 point, but of course, all out 65 points. And to be honest, in terms of rank reduction, we're looking at about a 350k swing at the moment, and that's without Maddison and a potential Daniel Iverson coming in, right? So depending on the points from tonight, we could see that reduced to about maybe a 250k red arrow. That would leave me from, I think I was at very close to 1.2 million pre-wild card. It put me at around the 1.4 mark again. Now, all things considered, when I've had a look at across the the Twitter community, other YouTubers as well, there's some managers that were in the top 300k, top 200k that are now way into the 1.5 million like me. So in terms of where we are and in terms of the damage that this week could have done to me, all things considered, I'm still happy. I'm still going to take away that it was a good time for my team personally to wildcard. I haven't done a direct comparison of where I'd be with my previous team to this team, but ultimately I'm still very, very happy with the outcome. So let's have a look then at the team for Game Week 10, as I think really that kind of wraps up most of Game Week 9's antics, right? So again, congratulations to those that captained Haaland. So as we can see for Game Week 10, my squad really doesn't need any transfers. I've actually put Mitrovic on the bench just as he's been flagged at 75% at the moment. That's not a lock-in by any means. I've just put him there just to kind of have a look and get a feel for, does James Justin in that starting 11 justify himself, and does he look fitting enough? And I think against the Bournemouth away fixture, he's a very good replacement if Mitrovic doesn't get the nod or doesn't start against West Ham. So I think that I'm still happy to not make a knee-jerk reaction substitute transfer or anything like that, and just go with what I mentioned during my wildcard guide, and that is that James Justin, Andreas and Nico Williams, all three of them potentially provide enough bench cover to justify, almost not using the full amount of money in the bank, right? So I do like this move. But we'll have to see. I'm going to check out the press conferences before I confirm this as the full team. But let's go from nets to the end. We've got Guaita in goal against the favourable Leeds at home fixture. I think, I'm anticipating that Crystal Palace now, with the run of fixtures they have, they should be trying to keep as many clean sheets as possible. I think Vieira's got the team in a really good position from a defensive point of view. It's just we need to see those performances turn into essentially FPL points for this man for me. So maybe a little bit risky to have gone with him, as they've not looked the most solid defensively, but I wanted to free up that money, right? So that's why I went from Pope to him. We've then got Reece James, Cancelo and Trippier with all home fixtures against Wolves, Southampton and Brentford respectively. I'm expecting big things from all three of these guys, to be honest, with all home fixtures. You could argue that in this team, the ideal situation for me would be for Tony to score, but Trippier to also bag an attacking return to counteract that clean sheet wipeout. That would be the perfect situation, but we'll have to wait and see on what happens there. St James's Park is again still a rocking stadium, and it's a difficult place to go. So maybe Tony blanks here as well, but still very happy to own Kieran Trippier against them. Of course, James Justin, as mentioned, not 100% nailed in this starting 11 yet, but does look quite good in terms of the fixture here. I'll have to wait and see on what tonight's game brings to see what I feel for him in terms of what he's looking like, how attacking is he. He's already registered a couple of assists this season, so maybe he gets the nod ahead of Mitrovic regardless of the injury, right? So we'll have to wait and see on that. In terms of the midfield, I think I'm pretty sold on this. There's no movements here, with Diaz against Arsenal, Zaha, Maddison and Sterling as well, all with Zaha and Sterling both with home fixtures. Maddison against Bournemouth away, which again I think is a very good fixture for him. Zaha against Leeds, Sterling against Wolves. I think both of those guys really could do some damage here, which is kind of again one of the reasons why I wanted to bring them into the team in the wildcard. It wasn't necessarily for Game Week 9, it was to also attack this game week as well. With Diaz and Arsenal, it is a bit of a difficult fixture. And of course, we've seen what Arteta's team is now doing. They're ticking on all fours, really. They're absolutely, looking like, a force to be reckoned with. They're not on par with City, in my opinion, but you can see that Arteta's time, probably under Pep Guardiola, has had some influence on his managerial style for Arsenal. So I think, to be honest, we're going to see an attacking Arsenal at home for themselves. And I think really Liverpool, in terms of where they're going to score, you could say that their wide men in Salah and Diaz are probably going to be able to provide that running behind and provide that width to be able to get the goals for Liverpool should they get them. So I'm very happy to still own him, even though that fixture on paper looks a bit difficult. And of course, captaincy, I don't think there's any real headache here, right? I mean, it's just an obvious choice. It's at the Etihad again. Can he do it again? Could he score another hat-trick? I mean, Southampton have had notoriously very large scorelines put against them. So who knows? I'm backing him all the way, though. I think there's a 101%. It's not even a question of being able to put the armband on anybody else. And then, of course, as mentioned, Ivan Toney, he is playing against Kieran Trippier in my team. But, you know, if he returns and also Trippier returns, then I'll be very happy indeed. So there's the squad for Game Week 10. As mentioned, I don't think there's really any need to make any transfers there. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on press conferences. I'll do a live stream, of course, as well, and we'll make sure that we're covered, of course. I'll also be providing a watch list, no doubt, and a specific team selection video. So I know this is a team selection to some degree, but I will confirm to you guys ahead of time on what I'm doing with James Justin, with Mitrovic, and so on. So feel free to tune into that later on. But I think that's going to wrap the video up for today, guys. Really appreciate all the support that you guys have shown me. Thanks if you've come over from FPL Focal as well. I know he's raided a couple of my live streams. I've gained quite a significant amount of subscribers from those raids, so appreciate the support. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy the content. If you do and you're new around here, then smash that like button, consider subscribing to the channel as well. And of course, if you want to show some direct support to the channel, it's completely your choice, of course, but I have set up a buy me a coffee page. The link's in the description of this video, so feel free to check that out if you'd like to support me that way, as of course I'm creating this content pretty much completely for free for you guys. So if you appreciate it, you like it, and you want to show your support, then please do. And of course, yeah, again, just thanks to everybody showing that support on the channel so far. Let me know in the comments below if you like the structure of this video, if you want to see any changes, or in general, if you've got any FPL related stuff you want to talk about, smash a comment down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.
You